Every summer, families pack up the cooler, head to the cookout, and end the day watching fireworks. For many families, it's one of the best days of the summer. But if your child covers their ears the moment the fireworks begins, melts down after the neighborhood celebration, or seems like a completely different kid for the next few days, you may find yourself dreading the 4th of July instead of looking forward to it. If that's your family, I want you to know something. Your child isn't trying to be difficult, and you're not doing anything wrong. What you're seeing may actually be your child's nervous system telling you it's overwhelmed. So today, I want to help you understand why holidays like the 4th of July can be especially challenging for some children, and more importantly, what you can do to better support them. Every July, we hear similar stories from parents. The day started out great, we went to the cookout, they had a popsicle, we stayed for fireworks, and then everything fell apart. Maybe your child became emotional over something that normally wouldn't bother them. Maybe they couldn't settle down to sleep, or maybe they were overwhelmed by the noise, the crowds, or the excitement. Sometimes those behaviors continue for several days afterwards, and parents often wonder, was it the sugar? Was it the fireworks? Was it just too much? And the answer is, sometimes it's all of those things together that cascaded into the meltdown happening. One of the questions I hear most often is, why does my one child seem completely fine while the other one struggles so much? Now, the answer often comes back to the nervous system. Now, every child has a different capacity to process physical, chemical, emotional, and sensory stressors. So for some children, artificial food dyes may contribute to increased hyperactivity and behavioral changes. Research even suggests that certain children may be more sensitive to these ingredients than others. At the same time, fireworks create an enormous amount of sensory input. The bright lights, loud sounds, crowds, heat, late bedtimes, changes in routine. That's a lot for any nervous system to process. And for a child whose nervous system is already working harder to adapt, it can simply become more than their body can comfortably handle. Now, one of the ways we explain this in our office is through what we call the perfect storm. Rarely is there one single cause. Instead, many small stressors begin stacking together. So maybe your child is already tired. Maybe they've had a busy week running around in the heat. Maybe they're recovering from an illness, or maybe they're naturally more sensitive to certain foods or environments. Then you add in a red popsicle or 2 hours in the heat, excitement, crowds, fireworks, and a bedtime that's 2 hours later than normal. And eventually the nervous system reaches its limit. The fireworks weren't necessarily the cause, they simply were the last thing added to an already full bucket. One thing we teach families all the time is that the nervous system controls how the body adapts to stress. It helps regulate sleep, digestion, sensory processing, emotional regulation, movement, attention, immune function, everything. So when the nervous system is adapting well, children are generally more resilient to life's everyday stressors. But when it's overwhelmed, even small challenges can feel much bigger. That's why I often say kids should be eating, sleeping, pooping, and moving with ease. When those foundational functions become difficult, it's worth asking why. But many parents don't think about these foundational parts of health until they've turned into bigger challenges like emotional dysregulation, ADHD, impulsivity, or behavioral struggles. We should always return back to the basics to start any health and healing journey. Now, there are several simple things that can make a big difference. Read food labels and be aware of artificial dyes if you've noticed your child is sensitive to them. Bring noise-canceling headphones. Take breaks away from the crowds. Protect sleep as much as possible. And don't feel pressured to stay until the very last firework. Sometimes leaving 15 minutes early is the best decision for your family. Now, these strategies help reduce the load on the nervous system in the moment, but they don't change how well the nervous system adapts in the first place. At Foundation of Stone, Pediatric and Perinatal Family Chiropractic, we take a deeper look at how a child's nervous system is functioning. Using insight scans, we can objectively evaluate how your child's body is adapting to stress. Now, these scans are safe, gentle, and non-invasive, and they help us understand whether the nervous system may need additional support. So our goal isn't simply to help your child get through one holiday. It's to help build a healthier, more resilient nervous system so they can better adapt to all of life's experiences. So if your child struggles every 4th of July, know this: you are not alone. Your child isn't too sensitive. And these behaviors aren't simply something you have to accept. Often, they're your child's way of communicating that their nervous system is working harder than it should. So if you've been wondering whether your child's nervous system could use extra support, we'd love to help. Click the link in our bio, send us a message, or schedule a consultation at Foundation of Stone, because every child deserves to enjoy the moments that make childhood so special. And healthy families start with a strong nervous system foundation.